Children do not think the same way adults do. As they grow, their understanding of the world changes step by step, becoming more advanced over time. Jean Piaget, a well-known psychologist, explained that children pass through different stages of thinking as they develop. Each stage represents a new way of understanding the world. In the earliest stage of life, from birth to around 2 years old, babies learn through their senses and actions. They explore by touching, seeing, hearing, and moving. Everything they know comes from direct interaction with their surroundings. At first, if something disappears from their sight, they think it no longer exists. But slowly, they begin to understand that objects continue to exist even when they cannot see them. This is an important step in their thinking development. As children grow into the next stage, between the ages of 2 and 7, their thinking becomes more imaginative. They begin to use language, ask many questions, and engage in pretend play. A simple object can become something magical in their minds. However, at this stage, they often see the world only from their own perspective. It can be difficult for them to understand how someone else might feel or think differently. Their thinking is not yet fully logical, and they may make judgments based on what they see rather than what is actually true. Moving into the next stage, from around 7 to 11 years old, children begin to develop logical thinking. They start to understand how things work in a more organized way. They can solve problems, understand numbers better, and recognize patterns. One important ability they gain is understanding that quantity remains the same even if its appearance changes. For example, they realize that pouring water from a short glass into a tall glass does not change the amount of water. Their thinking becomes more flexible, and they are less focused only on their own point of view. Finally, from the age of 12 and onward, thinking becomes more advanced and abstract. Teenagers are able to think about ideas that are not directly visible. They can imagine possibilities, consider different outcomes, and think deeply about concepts like fairness, justice, and responsibility. They can plan ahead, set goals, and solve complex problems using logic and reasoning. This progression shows that thinking develops gradually over time. Each stage builds on the one before it, allowing children to understand the world in more complex ways as they grow. It is important to remember that every child develops at their own pace. Some may move through these stages faster, while others may take more time. What matters is that development happens step by step, with each experience helping the child learn something new. This idea changed how people understood learning and education. It showed that teaching should match the child's level of thinking rather than expecting them to understand everything like an adult. In simple terms, children are not just smaller versions of adults. Their minds are constantly growing, changing, and adapting. From simple actions in early childhood to deep and logical thinking in the teenage years, the journey of cognitive development is a gradual and fascinating process.